Welcome to this edition of Market Mantra, in which we give you a complete update on the economic, business and stock market news of the day. I'm Arjun Chaudhary and with me is my co-anchor in Hindi, Manoj Pathak.
नमस्कार। मार्केट मंत्र के ताजा अंक में आपका स्वागत है। आधे घंटे के इस कार्यक्रम में हमेशा की तरह हम देश और दुनिया की चुनी हुई कारोबारी, आर्थिक और शेयर बाजार से संबंधित ताजा खबरों को लेकर हाजिर हैं। हमारे साथ खबरों पर चर्चा के लिए ऑनलाइन आमंत्रित हैं वरिष्ठ आर्थिक पत्रकार उदयन राय। उदयन, कार्यक्रम में आपका स्वागत है।
धन्यवाद मनोज।
आइए शुरुआत करते हैं अंग्रेजी में हेडलाइन से, जिसे लेकर मौजूद हैं अर्जुन चौधरी।
At the stock market, Sensex shoots up 623 points, the Nifty jumps 185 points, rupee gains 17 paise against the US dollar. India incorporates a foreign investment in April, jumps over 2 times to $2.5 billion, and Brent crude futures trade near $70 per barrel.
घरेलू शेयर बाजार में लिवाली तेज बढ़त के साथ बंद हुए प्रमुख सूचकांक। सेंसेक्स 613 अंक उछला, निफ्टी 185 अंक ऊपर आया। $1 की तुलना में रुपया हुआ 17 पैसे मजबूत। इंडिया का विदेशी निवेश अप्रैल महीने में 2 गुना बढ़कर $2.5 अरब तक पहुंचा और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों में ब्रेंट कच्चे तेल की कीमत $70 प्रति बैरल के आसपास पहुंची। घरेलू शेयर बाजार में आज लिवाली तेज रही और प्रमुख सूचकांक 1% से अधिक बढ़त के साथ बंद हुए। बॉम्बे स्टॉक एक्सचेंज का सेंसेक्स कारोबार के अंत में 613 अंक यानी 1.2% की बढ़त लेकर 50,193 पर बंद हुआ। उधर नेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज का निफ्टी 185 अंक यानी 1.2% उछाल के साथ 15,108 दर्ज हुआ। विस्तृत बाजारों की ओर ध्यान दें तो छोटी और मझोली कंपनियों का प्रदर्शन सेंसेक्स और निफ्टी पैक की तुलना में थोड़ा सा बेहतर दिखा है। बीएसई मिड कैप इंडेक्स 1.9% ऊपर आ गया। स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स में 1.3% की वृद्धि हुई।
At the stock markets, the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange jumped 613 points, 1.2% to close above the 50,000 mark at 50,193 today. Nifty at the National Stock Exchange shot up 185 points, 1.2% to end at 15,108. In the broader market, the BSE Mid Cap Index climbed 1.9% and the Small Cap Index added 1.3%. Among sectoral indices on the BSE, the auto index shot up 3.2%, industrials and consumer durables indices jumped 2.5% each, capital goods index advanced 2.3%, power index added 2.2%, utilities index rose 1.6%, oil and gas, energy and metal indices climbed 1.5% each, finance and basic material indices gained 1.4% each, BankX added 1.2% and realty and IT indices gained 0.9% each. Among declining indices, the telecom index dropped 1.7% and FMCG index fell 0.4%.
नजर डालें रुपए की स्थिति पर तो अंतर बैंकिंग विदेशी मुद्रा बाजार में $1 की तुलना में रुपया आज 17 पैसे मजबूत हुआ, $73.05 के स्तर पर पहुंच गया। कॉर्पोरेट जगत से कुछ खबरों पर ध्यान दें तो कैनरा बैंक ने बीते वर्ष की चौथी तिमाही में शुद्ध लाभ बढ़कर 1,011 करोड़ रुपए पर पहुंचने की सूचना दी है। इस दौरान बैंक का कुल एनपीए 3.82% दर्ज किया गया। ऑटो क्षेत्र की प्रमुख कंपनी टाटा मोटर्स ने गत वर्ष की चौथी तिमाही में सकल घाटा 7,605 करोड़ रुपए पर पहुंचने की खबर दी है। हालांकि इस दौरान टाटा मोटर्स का कुल राजस्व संचालन मद में 88,628 करोड़ रुपए दर्ज किया गया, जो पिछले साल इसी अवधि की तुलना में 42% अधिक है। कंपनी ने आलोच्य अवधि में शुद्ध लाभ 1,646 करोड़ रुपए पर पहुंचने की जानकारी दी है, जबकि पिछले साल इसी अवधि में 4,871 करोड़ रुपए का घाटा हुआ था।
And in more news, let's have our discussion with senior business journalist Udayan Ray. Udayan, a very warm welcome to you in Market Mantra.
Thank you, Arjun.
Udayan, how would you rate the market performance today? It crossed 50,000 mark, but the highlight of today was Tata Motors results, which I'm sure has disappointed many investors in terms of its net profitability and revenue, but yet the auto index went up by 3%. How would you explain that?
Arjun, a lot has to do with the JLR component of the Jaguar Land Rover business that Tata Motors has, and that has obviously not done as well. And there are certain challenges in the auto industry. Of course, the overall index could have gone up because of favorable sentiment towards the impact of the current situation. I'm referring to the pandemic or situation of the second wave, as it has been called. So, market possibly thinks they possibly think that the impact would not be as pronounced as they would have feared, and therefore, there's that optimism coming in. But Arjun, it's worthwhile pointing out across the globe, auto industry is all set to face challenges. Typically, from the shortage of chips. The chips are being used in all advanced cars, and they are in shortage at the moment. And whether it's Japan, whether it's US, it's being expected that auto industry will face certain supply shortages over a period of time, and that has to get sorted out. It's a supply chain issue. So over a period of time, this will take a little bit of sorting out. But today's index movement that you're talking about, in the auto index, is a sign of optimism, I would say.
उदयन, बाजार के यदि हम मूड को भांपना चाहें, निवेशकों की प्रवृत्ति को भांपना चाहें, तो कुल मिलाकर बाजार यहां से अब 50,000 से किस दिशा में जाता दिख रहा? लग रहा है ऐसे आसार कि अब यहां से आगे की ओर जाएगा, या फिर से उतार चढ़ाव के हिचकोले खाता दिख रहा?
मनोज, ये पूरा साल जो है तकरीबन मान लीजिए दिवाली तक या दिवाली से थोड़े बाद तक ये आगे पीछे हिचकोले ही खाता रहेगा, क्योंकि जैसे कि हम देख चुके हैं और हमें एक्सपीरियंस हो चुका है कि पैंडेमिक से जुड़े हुए, ये महामारी से जुड़ी हुई खबरें जब नकारात्मक होती है, नेगेटिव कुछ डेवलपमेंट हो जाता है, तो मार्केट रिएक्ट करते हैं, और वो लाजमी भी है। और ये जब तक हम इससे एक डोमिनेंस नहीं पा जाते, एक बिल्कुल ऑन टॉप नहीं हो जाते हैं, तब तक ये दिक्कतें जरूर आती रहेंगी। वो खतरा बना रहेगा, कहीं आड़ में वो खतरा छुपा होगा। पर अगर आप उन देशों की तरफ देखें जहां पे वैक्सीनेशन ड्राइव की वजह से सिचुएशन में कंट्रोल ज्यादा है, मान लीजिए अमेरिका में जैसे आप देखेंगे कंट्रोल थोड़ा बेहतर आता चला जा रहा है, कॉन्फिडेंस उनका बढ़ता चला जा रहा है, वहां पे मार्केट, इकोनॉमी सब में एक कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल, एक स्टेबिलिटी, एक ग्रोथ ऑप्टिमिज्म और आता चला जा रहा है। तो ये बड़ा क्रिटिकल फैक्टर रहेगा।
Udayan, if you look at the PSU Bank Index, it fell marginally by 0.22%. There is either profit booking that we've seen earlier or an unwinding of position. Why is that the case? Canara Bank reported its fourth quarterly numbers. There was a net profit of 1,011 crore rupees, but the net NPAs had stood at 3.82%. Is the expectation that the pricing of PSU Bank stocks has not gone up or will not go up because of earning expectations not being met? What are the reasons behind the pricing of PSU Bank stocks really not picking up? There's no momentum there. It has been more or less range bound.
Well, Arjun, PSU banks, they have a more widespread lending profile. They have priority sector lending. They're lending to other areas. They have their own priorities and focus in which they go. Whereas private sector banks, they don't have that, shall we say, social responsibility, or whatever you would want to call. So therefore, because say a private sector bank would be giving out educational loans. Now, you have, if somebody has taken an educational loan and they have got a degree and now they are not being able to get a job or whatever, how will those people now repay those loans? So these kind of pressures are the kind of things which public sector banks will continue to face, those pressures. But once these some of these pandemic related issues get sorted out, or there's a degree of greater control, you will find things getting better. But of course, because of the scale at which public sector banks are there, therefore even a small percentage of things going wrong, and I'm talking about loans, does make a lot of difference. So it is an unfolding story. It's not, the last chapter has not been written out there, and you will find these ups and downs going ahead.
Also looking at the media, Nifty media went up by 2.63%. We saw the auto index go up today by 3%. What was the reason behind the buying interest in media stocks specifically?
Well, Arjun, I wouldn't be able to specifically comment on what was the driver, but one of the areas where media is going to be doing well, and it's probably already is, are things which are where the content is being streamed when it is getting to the customer. As we know, a huge number of Indians are now homebound for it's for reasons beyond their control, and they are consuming that content, and that media consumption is happening. So this is primarily digital and streaming kind of stuff that's going in. And that adoption, that consumption is increasing. The various offerings that are coming up, that is on its way up, not only in India but across the globe. And that possibly could be one of the reasons that the market is seeing numbers and those things are getting impacted. And also optimism, Arjun, because if there are other media companies which are dependent on things opening up, print media or any other media company which has got a print presence. So if things are going to be opening up, things are going to ease up, you feel optimistic, then the buying interest or slightly longer term interest will increase.
उदयन, हम आपका ध्यान कैपिटल गुड्स की ओर ले चलना चाहेंगे। इस क्षेत्र में आज हम अच्छी खासी बढ़त देख रहे हैं, कोई खास कारण रहा और आने वाले दिनों में यह क्षेत्र कैसा दिख सकता है?
देखिए, कैपिटल गुड्स जो है वहाँ पे इसके जो कंपोनेंट्स हैं वो क्या वो एक दो कंपनियां थी या अक्रॉस द बोर्ड थी, ये तो खैर अभी मैं बता नहीं पा रहा हूँ। पर अगर ये जरूर दर्शाता है कि बाजार में ये कॉन्फिडेंस है कि ये जो ये करंट जो महामारी की वजह से एक डिसरप्शन है, कुछ जगह कुछ एक्टिविटीज बेहतर तरीके से नहीं की जा पा रही हैं, वो लॉन्ग टर्म नहीं है। लोग उम्मीद कर रहे हैं कि ये अब हम जो डाउनवर्ड कर्व है और डाउनवर्ड नंबर्स ऑफ फ्रेश इन्फेक्शन है उसको मार्केट सीरियसली ले लिया। और कैपिटल गुड्स के होने की वजह से आपको लगता है कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक्टिविटी में एक ऑप्टिमिज्म है और वो ट्रांसलेट कर रहा है, वो ये दर्शा रहा है। पर इसके इंडिविजुअल कंपोनेंट क्या है उसको थोड़ी सी और गहराई से देखने की जरूरत है।
Udayan, the rupee gained by 17 paise against the US dollar. In the local market, the rupee is rather arbitraged against the price of gold and silver. Internationally, the pricing of the rupee, the trading of the rupee is determined by how oil prices move. So we have seen across the commodity markets that gold, silver and oil prices have gone up. What's the future of the rupee and why is it that the rupee is going up? What is the driver behind the price rise?
One of the reasons I could clearly think of, Arjun, is the dollar index. In terms as dollar, the strength of the dollar has gone down a little bit, and that's being expected to continue. This trend is being expected to continue for some time. That can explain your rupee dollar news headline that we talked about, and it also explains your gold related. Gold, it seems, has hit a 3-month high, and that is also being attributed to the weakness in the dollar.
While at the same time we are looking at cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin losing value and not being accepted as a medium of exchange by companies like Tesla. Do you see some diversion internationally really from your cryptocurrency purchase interest into the commodity markets like gold and silver as a safe haven?
That can happen, and whenever there is going to be less than exciting economic news. When I'm talking about economic news, we are talking about manufacturing, the real economy. When it's going to be less than exciting news, for instance, if we get information that in the United States the employment is not increasing as fast as they would want, and there is a danger of inflation going up, which there is an apprehension, then you would see gold prices making it move northwards, So these kind of things do keep happening on a dynamic basis, and Arjun, it's worthwhile pointing out that some of the central banks, like notably China, they're also coming up with their digital currencies. So that is another card which has come into this card game, and over a period of time these things will keep playing out.
उदयन, हम अपने निवेशकों के लिए, छोटे श्रोताओं के लिए, मतलब कह लें जो छोटे निवेशक हैं, हमारे आम श्रोता हैं, उनके लिए सलाह पूछा करते हैं हर कह लें कि बाजार का जो स्तर होता है उस पर, तो वर्तमान जो स्थितियां हैं उसमें हमारे जो आम श्रोता हैं उन्हें क्या सलाह देना चाहेंगे? अपने पोर्टफोलियो में वह किस तरह से विभाजन करें ताकि उन्हें सबसे अच्छा रिटर्न मिल सके?
यहाँ पे कोई एक मुश्त रकम लंप सम आप एक स्टॉक में कभी ना लगाए, वो तो हर मार्केट कंडीशन में ही करेक्ट रहता है, और इस केस में तो ये बिल्कुल ट्रू है। आपको इंडिविजुअल स्टॉक्स की तरफ देखना है, एक सेक्टर की तरफ भेड़ चाल में ना लीजिए कि मान लीजिए आपको, जैसे आपने कैपिटल गुड्स के बारे में बात की, पीछे फार्मा के ऊपर चल रहा था कि पता चला आपने 6 फार्मा स्टॉक्स खरीद लिए, 6 कंपनियों के खरीद लिए। ऐसे मत कीजिए, हर एक कंपनी को इंडिविजुअली लीजिए और उनकी अर्निंग, उनकी जो कमाई है और उनकी जो प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी, जो मुनाफा कमाने की जो क्षमता है, वो कितने, उस पर आपको कितना भरोसा है, कितना कॉन्फिडेंस है, पीछे का ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड कैसा है, ये कुछ आम बातें जो आप हर शेयर निवेशक देखता है या देखती हैं, उनको यहाँ देखना है, और इसमें ब्रॉड ट्रेंड के ऊपर नहीं जाना है। आपको इंडिविजुअल स्टॉक्स की जो स्टोरीज है, यहाँ पे आपको कॉन्फिडेंस मैक्सिमम है, वहां पे आप डालिए। अगर मान लीजिए कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं मिल रहा तो अभी निवेश करने की जरूरत नहीं है। कई लोग समझते हैं कि निवेश करना जरूरी है, मतलब पैसे लगाना जरूरी नहीं है। आप अगर आपको मनपसंद कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं मिल रहा तो आप रुक सकते हैं। याद रखना यह है कि आप जिस दाम में खरीदते हैं और जिस दाम में बेचते हैं, वो दाम जिस पर बेच रहे हैं उसको ऊपर होना है। तो ये कब बेचते हैं और कब खरीदते हैं, कब बेचते हैं, वो ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट होता है। तो ये चीजों के बारे में अगर ध्यान दी जाएगी बेसिक्स के बारे में, तो दिक्कत नहीं होनी चाहिए।
आइए खबरों का सिलसिला आगे बढ़ाते हैं, नजर डालते हैं एशियाई शेयर बाजार पर, जहां कुल मिलाकर तेजी का रुख दिखा है। चीन से उम्मीद से कहीं बेहतर आर्थिक आंकड़े आने तथा अमेरिका में नीतियों में सख्ती की आशंका घटने से निवेशकों के बीच आज एशियाई क्षेत्र में उत्साह देखा गया। इन सब खबरों से जापान का निक्केई 225 सूचकांक 2.1% लाभ के साथ बंद हुआ। सिंगापुर का स्ट्रेट्स टाइम्स इंडेक्स भी 2% लाभ में रहा। चीन के शंघाई कंपोजिट इंडेक्स में 0.3% की वृद्धि हुई। उधर हांगकांग का हेंग सेंग 1.4% ऊपर आ गया, जबकि दक्षिण कोरिया का कोस्पी 1.2% लाभ में रहा। अन्य आर्थिक खबरों पर ध्यान दें तो जापान में इस वर्ष जनवरी से मार्च की अवधि में पिछले साल की तुलना में सकल घरेलू उत्पाद में 1.9% की कमी आई। सरकार की ओर से जारी आंकड़ों के अनुसार कोविड आपदा के प्रभाव से यह गिरावट हुई है। यूरोपीय बाजारों की ओर चलें तो समाचार तैयार किए जाने तक वहां लिवाली दिख रही थी। निवेशकों के बीच कई देशों द्वारा आर्थिक प्रतिबंधों में ढील दिए जाने संबंधी खबरों का अनुकूल प्रभाव बाजार पर पड़ा है। उसके अलावा ब्रिटेन में बेरोजगारी दर घटने तथा कंपनियों की अच्छी आमदनी होने से संबंधित खबरों ने भी निवेशकों की धारणा को प्रभावित किया। अंतर्दिवसीय कारोबार में लंदन का FTSE 100 समाचार तैयार किए जाने तक 0.4% लाभ में था। फ्रांस का CAC 40 0.2% बढ़त के साथ कारोबार कर रहा था, जबकि जर्मनी के डेक्स में 0.3% की वृद्धि बनी हुई थी। अन्य आर्थिक खबरों पर ध्यान दें तो ब्रिटेन में बेरोजगारी का आंकड़ा जनवरी से मार्च के दौरान इस वर्ष घटकर 4.8% पर आ गया। हालांकि इस दौरान लॉकडाउन के सख्त प्रतिबंध लागू थे। इसके अलावा अप्रैल महीने में लोगों को अधिक संख्या में रोजगार दिए जाने संबंधी आंकड़े भी आए हैं।
Moving on to the U.S. market, Wall Street ended lower yesterday, weighed down by tech shares, a sign of growing inflation worried investors about the potential for tighter monetary policy. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 54 points, or 0.2% to end at 34,328. The S&P 500 shed 11 points, or 0.3% to close at 4,163. And the Nasdaq Composite dropped 51 points to 13,379. With the earnings seasons at its tail end, overall earnings for S&P 500 companies are expected to have climbed 50.6% from a year ago, according to Refinitiv IBES, the strongest pace in 11 years. Udayan, briefly do tell us about this 2% inflation worry of the US economy and its economists after they had provided stimulus checks to its people as part of Social Security. Why are they not looking at it as a benefit for consumer spending? And now you have their earnings also at an all-time high for US companies. You can look at it from across the Atlantic also in the UK, where unemployment rate has fallen. Once again, the quality of the Social Security. So why is the US economy so worried about the inflation of 2%?
Well, Arjun, that's a pretty good question. There are two reasons, Arjun. What's happening is, see, when you suddenly shut down, as was the case when the pandemic broke out, you can shut it down pretty quickly. You can say that from tomorrow nothing is operating. But when you reopen, there are lots of challenges come in terms of inputs. What US is facing is they're facing a labor shortage now. They want to hire a lot of people, tens of thousands of people, and they don't have those jobs. I mean, they don't have those people. So now the problem is, if you're not going to be able to catch up with the supply and people have the cash, which you were talking about in terms of stimulus, what it does is there's a inflationary push, which they are going to face in any case. Now the Fed is arguing that this is going to be a temporary phenomenon. A lot of people in the market think that it is not going to be a temporary phenomenon. It's going to be a challenge, and Fed will have to do a turnaround pretty much quicker than it's being talked about. So that is the fear that they're talking about.
Well, let's have a look at our second headline story now. India incorporates foreign investment in April, jumped by more than 2 times year-on-year to $2.5 billion. Data from the RBI showed of the total commitment of $2.5 billion in April this year by the Indian company owners. $1.75 billion was in the form of loans, $421 million as equity capital, and another $333 million was chipped in through issuance of guarantee, showed the RBI data. Among the major investors, Tata Steel invested $1 billion in its wholly owned subsidiary in Singapore. Interglobe Enterprises Private Limited invested $146 million in a joint venture based in the UK, and Reliance Industrial Investments and Holdings committed $78.5 million in a fully owned unit in the UK. Very briefly, this foreign direct investment by Indian companies in offshore destinations, it will clearly add leverage to the company's global operations. But how does this benefit India and its employment?
Well, Arjun, it gives you that whole mojo of being part, creating global supply chain, being able to absorb shocks, which can happen in India. So all these things are, you basically, if you want to really keep growing, you cannot be vulnerable to certain kinds of shocks, whether it's product lines, whether it's geography. So when you're well diversified, then you can be you can have pretty good days on the stock market.
Well, let's have a look at the oil market now. Brent crude oil rose today to hit $70 a barrel for the first time since March, as expectations of demand recovery following reopenings of the European and US economies offset concerns over spreading coronavirus cases in Asia. The British economy reopened yesterday, and Europe is starting to reopen cities and beaches. So Brent crude gained 55 cents to trade at $70.01 a barrel. US crude futures rose 37 cents to $66.64 a barrel. And on this, we are joined by our oil and gas expert, Shri Narendra Taneja, South Asia Bureau Chief of Upstream. Mr. Taneja, very warm welcome to you on Market Mantra.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Mr. Taneja, we spoke about the oil market last week also, and it has risen substantially to cross $70 a barrel on the Brent crude side. Are you surprised by this price rise, and why are we seeing a demand push? Why are we seeing a price rise here?
Well, I'm not surprised at all. This spike is nothing to do with the market fundamentals. It has more to do with the fact that Western countries in the US and, in some of the parts of the Western world, including UK, they have started opening up. And so, the overall sentiments in the society and the markets are pretty cheerful. As you know, majority of people who play in the markets are actually located in the western part of the world, so they're reacting to it. And at the same time, they are watching very closely what's happening in some other country like Japan, India, and quite a few other countries which are still battling with the COVID. So I think it's temporary. Oil will, is at $70 per barrel. Brent is absolutely unsustainable. It will drop and it will basically go back to the levels where it should be.
Mr. Taneja, if you look at our import bill on a month-by-month basis, it's roughly $10.2 billion per month. What does this mean for our fiscal deficit? And are we buying Brent crude or US crude? Are we buying some other grade of crude oil in the market which is either more or less than what the international prices are?
Well, you see, first of all, the price. The second, of course, are always the other terms and conditions which we enter into when we are buying, government to government or company to company level. So it depends on so many other factors. But we have been trying as part of a strategy to reduce our dependence on the Middle East and diversifying. And so we started buying quite a lot of oil from the United States in particular. But that does mean that we will we will be able to achieve this target to reduce our dependence on the Middle East very significantly in any short period of time. For instance, we have gone back again for our June purchases to Saudi Arabia. So we are again buying more from Saudi Arabia than any other geography. So this will continue, for some time. But as far as overall fiscal deficit part is concerned, the bill is low simply because we are consuming less oil due to lockdowns and all that. Petrol, diesel consumption has come down. But this is all temporary. I think, oil plays a very important role. We are still oil and diesel economy in this country, and the consumption, as soon as things are back to normal, consumption will go back to this thing, and again we will face the same situation in terms of fiscal deficit and in terms of other areas.
Mr. Taneja, the local price of fuel is a key driver for tax collection for the government. Do you see the government easing the imposition of taxes and prices on the price of fuel anytime in the near future, seeing the way the pandemic has panned out?
Well, if you look at the overall expenditure burden on the central government, and the same goes for the state governments, irrespective of which party is in power, is more or less the same. I don't think the central government is in a position, at least for another 3 months, to actually cut excise. The same goes for various state governments, because dependence of the state governments on petroleum product is even higher. So I don't see that. We have to be realistic right now. Center and state, they are all battling with this. They need more funds. So this is not really the time that they would be in a position to cut excise at the center or sales and VAT at the state level. I don't see that happening for another 3 months.
Mr. Taneja, very briefly, I know I asked you this last week also. Are we in a position to hedge the price of fuel in any which way, in terms of procurement and in terms of pricing?
Unfortunately, answer is no. We tried, we have reserves and everything, but I don't really think, because we are a large consumer. We consume roughly 5 million barrels a day. It's very, very large. We are the third largest consumer of oil in the world. So I don't think, smaller countries can do that, but in our kind of situation where our economy is heavily dependent on oil, unfortunately, we are not in that position.
Thank you so much, Mr. Taneja, for being with us on Market Mantra and giving us your views on the oil market today. Thank you so much.
आइए चलें सर्राफा बाजार। दिल्ली सर्राफा बाजार में आज सोने का मूल्य 333 रुपए बढ़कर 47,833 रुपए प्रति 10 ग्राम पर पहुंच गया। चांदी 2,021 रुपए बढ़त के साथ 73,122 रुपए प्रति किलो के स्तर पर पहुंच गई। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों में भी सोने का मूल्य थोड़ा सा मजबूत हुआ है। बस यहीं पर श्रोताओं की ओर से उदयन हम आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहेंगे।
And before we close, a reminder of the headlines. At the stock market, Sensex shoots up 613 points. Nifty jumps 185 points. Rupee gains 17 paise against the US dollar. India incorporates foreign investment in April, jumps over 2 times to $2.5 billion. And Brent crude futures trade near $70 per barrel. And that's it in this edition of Market Mantra. For now, goodbye. Market Mantra.